Okay, next we're going to do a combined import of the students, the activities, and the registration combined, just so you can see how they're a little bit different. Normally, like I said before, at the beginning of the semester, if you do these imports, you probably want to do them separately first, and then you can automate the combined one. If you have a large amount of students, you might want to just automate them all separately, because each of them will automate separately. Just for speed purposes, because if you think about it, you have 100,000 students and they're all taking 4 classes, that's 400,000 that have to be imported and tied to registration. And that's a pretty big file. So you may want to pare it down and just do them separately. If you have 5,000 students, you can probably automate that combined import with no problem at all. Okay, also a large amount of students, you want to do the import on the server, not across the network. Once you open your AccuTrack, go ahead and log in and go to the main system administration where I am now. And once you're on that menu, expand out database and import. Go to import. But if you can't find import, click on expanded view and then you should see it there. And then go ahead and click on import. And then select target table, student activity, and registration combined. Okay, once you do that, go ahead and browse out to wherever you have your file and select your file. Once again, if it's comma delimited, it's probably not going to show until you select all files down here at the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and select my registration file. It has everything combined on there, and I'm going to say next. And then once again, I'm looking for a line between each piece of data, which I do have. And then I'm going to say next. If you don't have a line between each piece of data, try to click around to get it. If you don't get it, you need to repair the file before you do the import. Okay, once I say next, I'm going to come to my mapping screen, and I have a lot more required fields here. The yellow are required. Everything else is optional. Okay, so I'm going to clear my mappings. So I'm going to tell it the category I want my classes to go into. Mine happens to be called tutoring, except for I have a couple categories not called tutoring, but most of them are. Identification, this is going to be whatever I mapped in my activity import, usually the course registration number or the section number. And then the name of the class, normally for the activity. The student name, you do need to have your student names on this import. So I have the first name, the last name here, and then middle name I have, and the student ID. And that's all I have on my import sheet, but if I did have the other fields, I could import those. If you're using labs in AccuTrack, you do want to import the lab. I will tell you something though, if you're using labs, you only want to import the registration into one lab, normally the default lab. You don't want to do multiple registrations into multiple labs. It will slow your system down very much. Instead, use service types instead of labs. If you have a scenario like that, call us and we'll explain it to you. Okay, so once you get to this point, go ahead and say next. And then it will tell you if anything's good or bad. And like right here, I have a required field missing, so that one's not going to import. This one's not going to import. But for the most of them, look good to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and run my import and say finish. And then when it gets done, it's going to tell me the results. And up here, 426 were tied successfully to their registration. 3 had required fields missing, and they always come to the top, the ones that didn't import properly, and they'll be grayed out like this. So I can go check them individually or manually add them or however I want. And then once I've run this import, once again I can automate this by clicking Schedules and Automated Import, tell it what days, tell it what months, and what times I want it to run the import. And I'll have my student information system put the file out there, laid out the same way, named the same thing. And in this scenario, sometime before 4 o'clock it needs to be put out there, and sometime before 6 o'clock in the evening it needs to be put out there. AccuTrack will grab it and import it. And pretty much that's it. That's now automated, and it's good to go for the rest of the semester. Thank you for your time.